Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing? We are how many days to Christmas? I don't really know, but we're a few days to Christmas, and today I have a very powerful and interesting video. I have interviewed a very powerful lady. This lady actually spoke at the UK Parliament, and she was advocating for the rights of sex workers who are living with HIV. Herself, she's a sex worker. She has lived with HIV. She is HIV undetectable, which means she cannot transmit the virus to anybody else. So when I tell you guys that HIV has changed, it is you people who have refused to change. It is because I mean it. HIV has changed. Do your research, know the right information, because in 2020 we can actually reach 0 new HIV infections. So as you watch this video today, I hope you get encouraged, you get empowered, and you learn that HIV is not a death sentence. And also, as my guest today will actually advocate or be very vocal about it, that sex work is work. Okay, so enjoy this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hi everyone, my name is Joyce Adhiambo. I am from Kenya, and I am a sex worker living with HIV. I got infected with HIV in the year 2002. I'm a mother of 3 children. I lost 1 child through extrajudicial execution in 2018, and I also have a daughter in the university, 3rd year at Masai Mara. I also have a son who is addicted to alcohol, and I started taking my ARVs in the year 2002. I've actually faced a lot of stigma and discrimination from my community, from my family members. Recently, I was abused by my own son, talking to me very badly because I wanted him to reform or change, but then he took it in a negative way. He told me that I am a prostitute or a sex worker and I will die of HIV, so I should not bother about his life. And personally, I do supportive disclosure for sex workers living with HIV, and it has really brought a very positive impact, because when I do supportive disclosure, my fellow sex workers who are HIV come out and speak to me personally, and then I give them the community positive health dignity prevention messages, and it has really encouraged them and improved in their adherence, and it has also improved in the community adherence as well. So everybody comes asking me how I survive with HIV, and I'm a sex worker. Basically, I face double stigma and double discrimination because of the fact that I am a sex worker living with HIV. I have survived TB. I also survived TB in the year 2004, and I also survived cervical cancer in the year 2013. So you can imagine how I've gone through my life fortunes. It all started when my father died in the year 1998. I was a happily married woman. So in my Luo culture, when one's husband doesn't turn out for the father's burial, it replicates or it indicates that this person is no longer interested in you. So I was forced by my auntie, a sister to my father, to have sex outside marriage in order to cleanse my children. Little did I know that that time is when I got infected with HIV. So after I left my home, I just got into sex work, and the same aunt is the one who introduced me into sex work. So that is how I got infected with HIV. It has not been an easy journey. It has been tough because when I started coming out, people were asking, how can a sex worker come out and start talking about HIV status? I even lost many of my clients because they were imagining of personally speaking about HIV, and I'm still a sex worker. So some didn't even want to have sex with me, but they paid me something like a token instead of having sex with them, which is also good to me. But then I also came to realize that my fellow peers they stigmatize me or discriminate me in the hotspot where we go for sex work, because they tell the clients that don't have sex with this lady, she does supportive disclosure. So it also brought a lot of violence to me. Personally, I felt emotional, but I came to realize that that is also a good way of retaining my HIV status, or stopping reinfection, or even stopping infecting other people with HIV. Yes.
So let me ask, would you like advise other sex workers who are living with HIV to disclose to their clients, or they just, as long as they're undetectable, they're just okay, and they should not really, it shouldn't be really the client's business?
Okay, disclosure is not a one-time decision. You'll decide when, where, and how to do that disclosure. So the best way to do it is to engage your partners through a counselor who will advise you on how to do the disclosure. But what I'd like to advise sex workers, since sex work is work like any other work, they better use correct and consistent condom use every time they have sex, so as to avoid infecting other people with HIV. It's either you have sex with me with a condom, or you don't have sex with me. First use a condom, or you don't have sex with someone who doesn't want it. So that is my priority. Yes.
And then we have seen that you said earlier that sex work has been associated with a lot of stigma, and we have also seen cases of violence. So how about a client who comes, they don't want to use a condom and they become violent? So how do you assist this the sex worker in this case, or how do you handle such kind of cases?
Violence and sex work, when sex workers do face a lot of violence because of the illegality of sex work. So as sex workers, we call for decriminalization of sex work in Kenya, so that sex workers can be on the safer side. But on the other side, we also do advocacy on prevention, interventions when it comes to violence. We empower our fellow sex workers on how to avoid violence, on how to report violence cases, and we also have linkages and referral systems on how to link the sex workers on violence issues.
And now the people in your community, like maybe your family, not the nuclear family, but maybe the extended family, how do they take your work as a sex worker and a person who is also living with HIV?
My family members, personally, don't even want to associate with me. I was one day thrown out of a committee where we were in a family committee, simply because I'm a sex worker. You don't have a voice to speak, because in my culture we don't believe that sex workers are people who should associate with people. But personally, I know sex work is work because I know empowered. And what I do is I look for ways on how to communicate with them. Yes.
So we have seen this thing that personally do not advocate for it, though. For people who keep saying that if you are HIV positive, you need to disclose your status to a person, because I don't think I owe anybody my HIV disclosure, though. But we have seen these people who get infected with HIV, they become very bitter, and then they decide, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a sex worker, and then I'm going to infect every other person because somebody also infected me. What is your take on that?
Being HIV positive is not a death sentence. It is just a condition. So so long as I know my HIV status, it doesn't mean that I go infecting people anyhow. Remember, when you are HIV positive, it doesn't mean that you cannot be infected again. So reinfection is also, we should look at reinfection as something that can put your life into more danger. You can even have a high viral load, and then you start developing these opportunistic infections. So my first priority is I better use correct and consistent condom use, or barrier methods, prevention, intervention, so as to prevent all my partners from getting infected. And as a community champion who advocates for HIV prevention, I say nobody should be infected with HIV zero infection, because what I do is I do health education, I do supportive disclosure, but then disclosing my status, it's my personal decision. I only disclose my status if I want to if I'm feeling like, but not to everybody. Yes.
And so, okay, let me talk about how I actually saw the clip you did on the UK Parliament, and that was really powerful. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
As a sex worker, we've faced a lot of research, and researchers are so much interested in the key populations group because it is the most vulnerable populations, and they assume, or they know that sex workers, the prevalence of HIV right now is at 29? Yes, 29%. It's very high. So they get interested into the key populations because they want to do more research on HIV prevention. But then we came up and thought about ethics dumping. Yes, researchers do come in, but they just parachute into the country. They do their research and go away without even giving us the feedback of what they were doing. So we as sex workers, we wanted to be harder. We want researchers to respect us, respect our spaces. We want researchers to be very faithful. Yeah, when they do research, we should know what they are doing about us. Yeah, because when you are signing a consent form, maybe you don't know what you're signing. We want a consent form that a sex worker at the grassroots can understand. We want sex workers to be meaningfully engaged and meaningfully participate in the research. In terms of questionnaire reviews, we want to be community researchers ourselves. We want to reach to the researchers ourselves so that we understand the basics of research. So we want meaningful participation in the research and no more ethics dumping. And we also want to know where our samples go to and who will handle them and where they will be stored. And then we want our samples to come back to us and bury either blood samples or anybody's samples, human being samples. Yeah, we believe that when we bury them in our own country, it actually brings that, it embraces our culture. So they don't just go with our samples. We don't know whether they are going to do more research apart from what we agreed on. Because we find some researchers take our samples, they go as far as doing DNA tests with our research, and they don't even give us. We also want to benefit. We want benefits from our research. Yes.
So one of the things that I can say, and I still go back to the point of stigma and discrimination. You've spoken about family stigma from other sex workers, and I was just asking, do you also face stigma from now? What is it called? From now, like your clients, do they look at you and they're like, no, we know you're a sex worker, so I know you spoke that with some of them are like, we can't do this, but do they stigmatize you, or do they look at the HIV status before they look at you as a sex worker?
Personally, I can tell you that I had very many clients because I'm a beautiful girl.
Yeah, yes, you are.
I am. So when I started coming out and speaking about my HIV status, 80% of my clients exited. They literally exited. They even blocked me on their phone numbers. I couldn't even access their numbers. Some, even when you call them, they tell you that you're calling a wrong number. A person whom you've been having as a client for more than 6 or 10 years, telling you that that number is a wrong number. Surely. Okay, I didn't understand why they were doing that. I thought I was saving their life from infecting them with HIV because I already know my HIV status. Little did I know that they will exit. Some even don't want to hear about me even today. So I think the best thing is just to open up and speak about my HIV, to save my own life from reinfection of HIV, and also to save the other clients from getting infected, because now it's like a circle. If I infect someone, my client maybe is having 3 or 4 sex partners. He's going, now you see that social network. Yeah, it's not going to be good. So I just feel personally I just have to disclose my status to a person who doesn't want to use a condom at that point, so that he can actually be on the safer side. But someone who wants to use a condom, I don't need to disclose my status. I want to add something.
Okay.
When I started coming out in 2010, going to reach out to sex workers who are living with HIV, actually it's a life-changing moment, because over 300 sex workers who are bedridden, I took an initiative of going and doing home visits, and I saw very good fruits. They accepted their status and they took their ARVs, and now they are good to go. Yeah, we have very many positive success stories on people coming out, accepting their status from my personal supportive disclosure.
Thank you so much for that and for adding that actually. So I just wanted to finish up with just one very last thing, a word of encouragement to anybody who is going through this. Maybe they are a sex worker, or they were a sex worker and they got infected and now they don't even know where to start from, or even somebody who just got infected, newly diagnosed people, because we know that they have a lot of acceptance to do. So just one last word to them.
HIV infection is not a death sentence. If you are HIV negative, we have pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP. You can take PrEP and prevent yourself from HIV infection, because when you're vulnerable, you can get infected at any time. Yeah. The last word of encouragement is, I am a community champion of HIV, and I have a word of hope. If you are infected with HIV, take your ARVs consistently, keep time, eat well, and feel free to talk about it when you want to, because we have a lot of things to do. I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my grandchildren, and I'm even expecting to take care of other people who are HIV positive. So my word is, take your ARVs. HIV is not a death sentence. I'm a sex worker living with HIV. I've survived TB, I've survived cervical cancer, and right now I have undetectable viral load. U is equals to U. So sex workers can do it better.
So if you reached the very end of this video, I really hope that it got to touch you. I hope that it got to encourage you, and you actually get to feel that you have the right information right now in your hands. So thank you so much. See you next week. Bye-bye.